right now we're working on right now the city is proposing 45% of our total budget to go to police. We would like it lowered to 30. We also do recently we had like a park cleanup at the park and a government revitalization. Just like little things that we feel that our city needs, we try to get that to happen. So
could you explain the sign that you're holding there?
I made the sign actually at one of our events. We had a sign making event. So for this, we just want to emphasize that we could reallocate those funds to revitalizing our parks. One major thing that I noticed is that people in Salinas tend to go to the peninsula, like Monterey, Carmel, to go enjoy their parks. And here, our parks are pretty filthy. They're littered. The grass is overgrown. Bathrooms are not clean. It just doesn't bring joy to go to your own local park.
What benefit do you think it would have to have better parks?
For our youth to be able to play sports and feel safe. I remember the last park I went to, there was trash everywhere and there was broken shards of glass. It's not safe for our youth. And, neglecting our parks, it's a reflection of how we care about the people of especially our youth. Because they're the ones who try to utilize it the most.
Are parks something that you personally care about specifically?
I mean, personally, yes. I love being able to go and gather with like and talk about what's happening or with my friends. I personally feel like it's a priority, but there's other things that we can put resources into.
What inspired you to come to this protest today?
Because I'm a Salinas native and I want to see our city do better, and I think we can do better. And I want our budget to prioritize our needs. And right now, most of our funding going to the police isn't funding our needs.
What change do you think you'll need to see until you stop coming to protest?
I don't think I'll ever stop coming to protest.
All right, buenas tardes, everybody. Good afternoon, everyone.
It's what's needed.
How we doing?
At the local level.
All right, yeah. Come on, let's do it.
Note that.
Get this energy. Okay, the world is watching, y'all. The world is watching.
With an article stating
Okay,
that
so we're at this moment. Right here, our city leaders are about to make some decisions around our city budget.
That hasn't changed the numbers.
And so,
you can't,
what we want to do right now,
attribute
what we
increase in
we're
crime
going
to an increase in
invite you all to do,
that hasn't happened.
okay, is turn to your neighbor, and bring up the question, what would you like our city leaders to spend their money on, to spend our money on, to spend our tax money on? So to a neighbor, to one of your neighbors, real quick, just check in. Say what's up to your neighbor and say, hey, what do we want our tax money, our city tax money to go to? All right, so we're gonna give you like a minute, 2 minutes. Okay, let's go.
My name is Carla Gonzalez.
Are you here as a part of a particular organization?
I'm not. I'm here as an everyday citizen and lifelong resident, and I'm here mainly through the lens of an educator. As a teacher, I teach ethnic studies, Chicanx studies, and U.S. history at Alsal High School in the heart of East Salinas, which was also my high school. So I'm an alumni. I'm proud to be one.
What inspired you to come out to this particular protest?
It's the youth. It's the youth. Never in my life have I seen Salinas so animated and so excited and so involved. And I want to be a part of that. I want to continue the momentum. I have so many stories of students that continue to, even years after having graduated, ask me, what can I do? What's going on? And it's just about connection and getting folks involved. So I want to break the barrier between civic duty and action and your everyday person who might be willing to do so but doesn't have the means or doesn't know how. We have to make it accessible for them to be a part of the movement. That's what it is. It's a movement, not a moment.
What change do you think you want to see from this movement?
I want us to be a more intentional, loving community. That's really what it is. My philosophy in life is radical love. Everything I do is with love. I love everyone. I might not like everybody, but I love everybody. But I want my community, not even I want the officials to have as much love for our community as we do, right? It's the community members that do the organizing. It's the community members that do the advocating without a platform. So to think that they're able to do all of this without a platform, all these folks are sitting up happy in their leather chairs, getting nice and comfortable, that doesn't sit right with me. It's not okay with me. So I hope that they listen. I hope that they really remember that they serve us, that we voted them in, and if they're not ready to evolve, we will vote them out. No more complacency, no more apathy. This is it. It's over.
Why do you think it's important to have love for each other?
What do I think it's?
Why do you think it's important to have love for each other?
I think it's important to have love for each other because we're all we've got. As someone who grew up in this community, as a student of this community, as a lifelong resident, I'm a first generation. My parents are immigrants, and I had a lot of love given to me from elders in this community. I received a lot of mentorship, tutelage, and I want to do my part to reciprocate that. One of the most beautiful teachings that a maestro endowed upon me was the philosophy of in la quech, which I'm sure many of your viewers are familiar with. But it's the Mayan proverb that is, you are my other me. That's how I see the world. It's what I do affects you. What you do affects me. If you heal, I heal, right? It is about that interdependency that's already there, but we fail to acknowledge. And I get why. We are conditioned within this system to think about the individual, to think about the rat race, to think about the money. We adapt, we survive. But now is the time to shift back, to look out for one another, to love one another, to care for one another.
Do you know who your council member is?
Yes, Scott Davis is my councilman.
Do you feel that he adequately represents what you want to happen?
I feel that he's a starting point. I was quite impressed by the comments made by Mr. Adam Bolaños Scow. What I worry about in particular is intentionality. I'm not saying that these elected officials are bad people or that they joined office to do bad. No. I know they joined this group to do good because at some point in their political career they said, I want to make a difference. But something gets lost in translation when you enter these institutions. You yourself become institutionalized, and that trend needs to break. I have so many young folks that say, I want to be mayor, I want to do this. And what turns them away is the corruption. What turns them away is the knowledge that these systems are inherently broken. And so if we can get more folks to transform these systems, the better.
What do you think can be done about the corruption?
I think we need to vote them out. I know how strong the voting power is of the dominant majority, the dominant culture is here in Salinas. And that unfortunately means that the responsibility falls on us, on the underrepresented, to organize, to get together, to advocate for what our needs, desires, and wants are. It's not fair that the most burdened have to free themselves from the oppressed, but it is our lot in life, and we need to continue to do that.
Could you talk a little bit about, so you spoke a little bit about the city needing to divert funds away from the police. Could you elaborate a bit on your opinions about that?
Yeah, to me, where you put your money reveals your priorities. It reveals what you want to invest in. They're telling us what they want to invest in is the prison industrial complex, is creating crime by virtue of allocating money for tickets, for warrants, for these small, completely arbitrary citations. That's not justice. And what's most upsetting is they know this. So that is what I cannot take. It's one thing if you are ignorant because you don't have access or you do not know. It's another thing to be willfully blind, to be willfully ignorant. And they need to reimagine. And if they're not ready to reimagine new worlds, we will. And we'll do so without them.
Do you have any closing thoughts that you'd like to get across to the audience that sees it?
Yeah, just, in particular to the youth. I was once you. It takes such labor to turn your outrage and your anger into eloquency and into articulation. I can't tell you how many times I've been complimented in saying, wow, you speak really well. You talk white. Wow, you're an engaged citizen. You sure you're Mexican? It's the most insulting thing that I can think of, because what that tells me is I'm likely the first person they saw in this capacity. That needs to change. So this is my call to the youth in particular. If you are in any way on the verge or undecided about should I participate, should I join, do so. Do so. I promise you, you will feel empowered. You will feel less alone. You will feel like you are a part of this community.
All right, cool. Looks like some good ideas were exchanged. Maybe a couple of aha, yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's a good idea. Exactly where I want 45% of our tax dollars to go to. 45, 46, so on and so forth. So with that, I'd like to hear, or I think we all should hear from you, what were the standout ideas? Who came up with some really good ideas? All right, let's just a little time to reflect back what you all were able to share amongst yourselves. And I want to invite the first person to volunteer to come up and bless us with a vision. All right, so anybody want to come up and speak to this? Speak to where we could best use our city funds. Anyone. Oh, right over here. Yeah, let's give him a hand. Come on. Yeah, go for it. What's your name?
Eddie.
Eddie, where you from? You from here, Salinas?
Yeah, born and raised here in Salinas.
All right. Let's give it up.
So, as I said, I've been born and raised here in Salinas. Went to Alvarez, and one of the things that was really instrumental in my life was having after-school programs to stay out of trouble. And so, really, we should be approaching our community instead of a reactionary way, but really investing in the future, investing in the youth, investing in after-school programs, so that way that we can, really invest in our future leaders here.
All right, thank you, Eddie. Come on up, brother. It's our brother, Israel Villa. Give it up. Buenas tardes, my name is Israel Villa. Very proud to be from East Salinas, and I feel like our Parks and Recs department should be fully funded. From what I'm aware, there's only like 7 staff, and they're in charge of like 50-something parks here in Salinas, or 50-something areas that they have to take care of, and I don't think that's right. When we have the police department fully funded to the point where the ones that drive around and give tickets that now you see on Saturdays and Sundays, that little department, they got more people than our Parks and Recs. Something's wrong with that equation to me. I also believe that our libraries should be fully funded and expanded upon. Because we know that we live in pretty much a very impoverished community, man. A lot of our folks, we're from the working class. Even worse, we're poor. We're from a primarily Latino community, farm worker community, and we know they don't pay our people nothing. They're almost slaving. So I also feel that I agree strongly in after-school programs. When I was a teenager many moons ago, when I was in elementary, I remember my friends in 7th grade and 8th grade in high school, they used to have a job in the summer, every summer. And we grew up in the Chispa apartments, the first Chispa apartments on Roosevelt Street. So we were, low-income housing. But my friends who were teenagers used to have a job in the summer, minimum wage job, and it was by the city that ran it. It was funded by the city, and they used to go and clean all of our schools during the summertime. I strongly feel that that would contribute much more to public safety if we give our youngsters jobs, right? And keep them off of the streets. I could go on a good one for a long time, but I want to give other folks. I don't want to take all the bullets, so I'm gonna let other folks go. Thank you. Let's invite one of our sisters up here, a mom, homegirl who wants to come on up. Right over there, yeah, come on up, yeah.
Hi, my name is Rebecca. I'm born and raised here in Salinas. And I wanted to add on to what Eddie said is, I absolutely, Parks and Rec, I'm 100% all for that, but our youth is the foundation for a healthy community, and we need to invest in our children and our schools. And when I went to Jamba Juice and I saw a photo of the police department with a SWAT team. And here we are taking away art and music from our children in the schools. It's not okay. We need to invest in our children because our children will be of the future and they are here and we need to take care of our it starts with the youth, and that's just pretty much, I could preach it till I'm blue in the face, but that's just what I want to say is it's to see so much money go to one. Yeah, I'm like getting overwhelmed. It's heartbreaking. It hurts. And I want to see this community, thrive for our babies and our youth. And that's our head.
Any of our young folk, any of the youngsters in here, yes, come on up, sister, let's do this.
So just like pigging back off of like education out here, it's obviously incredibly important to start them off as young as possible. So not only giving resources to people in high school, but also for elementary students, like giving them after school programs and giving them like summer camps that they can go to that are free and that are like near their homes and easy to get to. And one thing that a lot of people didn't know is that at Monterey High, they have different branches of education. So they have like nursing, they have business, and we don't have anything like that out here. Like, as you know, if you were like graduated around my class in like 2018, like FFA was like the biggest program that we have just because this is Salinas. But I think that like Salinas is so much bigger than agriculture. Like there's so many young minds that like have so many things that they can do, but they just don't have the resources to really access that or really open that up. So, yeah.
Jada, thank you, Jada. Yeah. So I'm gonna draw my attention over to the youngsters over here. I see some common identity around the butterflies, and I see a young leader from Alisa High who's back from college. So I want to invite. I'm going to open it up for our youngsters over here, young people doing big things. Come on up, Daisy.
Sorry, I'm pretty short. Yeah, I think just echoing on what a lot of people have already said, investing in our youth and recreational spaces. I know that for myself, it was really beneficial for me when I was in high school. I think it was the only way I was able to really develop my leadership skills. And it's really essential for our youth to become leaders in our community in order for Salinas to become more vibrant and more inclusive to all of our community. And if we don't invest in our youth, we will lose our community completely, since we are mostly made up of youth. So it's kind of outrageous that a lot of this money is being spent on police rather than the community, the youth that need it. But yeah, that's all I needed to say. Thank you.
I'd like to invite anybody who was working for the city, any city workers here, anybody working for any of the public services here. No, we don't got, okay, oh, right over here. Come on up, sir, yeah. Need to hear your voice, bro. Who's in our shirt? Who's in our shirt?
So education, not incarceration. So I work at MPC, but I have a lot of work as far as dual enrollment in the city of Salinas as well. And I think that, I think we're all in agreement that education needs to be funded more. And it's a constant thing where there's a discrepancy in the budgets that we really need to put focus on. And like, we right now, the whole goal is just reallocate and find ways where we can fund our youth services, as well as to kind of build them up and that they can become community leaders and there could be more in the crowd that we see today. But one of the things too, I think I'm just gonna speak from the heart too, is that I'm tired of seeing the streets being like the potholes and the sidewalks. My grandma had a concussion because she ended up freaking falling from one of those things and just tripping over it. So it's just little things like that, but then I see the bigger issues too, and the police brutality that happens, and the constant, like, the way that they don't define discretion in the courts. And the reason why these cops get out and don't get accountable for what their actions are, and then we constantly have to fight and fight and fight, I think that needs to change too. So if, for all the city council members right now, I think you really need to listen to your community and see that we are here to stand up for our community in solidarity with everybody. But you guys need to make a decision as far as what are your priorities and what are you going to do for our youth and for our people that are citizens as well. I mean, senior citizens. All right, thank you.
Come on up, yeah. Let's keep it going, come on.
Another shorty here. My name is Marisol Contreras, and I am a school counselor with El Sal Union School District. And I mean, where to start? But it's overwhelming, and it's really sad to have to prioritize education, mental health, recreation. Like, there's so little money, and we have to prioritize. But all of that is important. So our kids need all of that, and their counterpart, our brown and black kids in this community deserve better. And their counterparts in these richer communities, they have that all, and their parents have resources, and their communities have the resources. But our children don't have that many resources. So we need a community that stands for services for just overall mental health. Our community is a traumatized community. We see violence in the streets, not because of, because we know why there's violence, because of poverty and everything. But we see our children that are they are up against so many challenges, and so they are falling behind because they don't have those tools that their richer, wider counterparts do. And so we need to arm our kids with those tools. And schools, counselors in schools, not cops. So we need counselors in schools. We need our teachers to be supporting our students' social emotional health. And when our teachers and our principals have to say, well, no, I need to invest in this academic program, I can't invest in a wholesome education that is going to support your mental health and academic and sports. So we need resources so that we don't have to pick and choose. Our kids need it all. They deserve better.
Come on up. Yeah. More folks. Let's do this.
I like that everyone's talking about education and the parks, and I think we also need to talk about the homelessness issue in Salinas. It was a couple months ago when there was like plans to build a homeless shelter near Natividad, and people boycotted it. And this is important to highlight the disconnect between certain groups of people in this city, financially and culturally. You don't need to boycott a homeless shelter because you think they're gonna come to your homes and like raid them or something. They're not gonna do that. If you give homeless people a foundation on which to, not be able to live and not struggle every day with that, then you're not gonna have to worry about crime or poverty, and you don't have to worry about any sort of danger from it's a form of dehumanization. You're treating these people like rodents, and they're not. They're people that need help, and I think we need the homeless shelter in Salinas. We need another one.
I want to invite my sister, Carla Gonzalez, Alisa High educator, activist, revolucionaria. Here we go.
Hi everyone, blessings to all. Humor me for a moment, I just typed something up really quick. Sometimes when you get angry, it's hard to stay on point. My name is Carla Gonzalez. I am a homegrown educator, born and bred right here in beautiful Salinas. And I'm here today as a lifelong resident, as a community member, but most importantly, as an educator. I teach ethnic studies, Chicanx studies, and U.S. history at Alisa High School in East Salinas. And I cannot tell you how I worry for the youth, how I grieve and mourn for the youth. Y'all, our youth have had it. They're done. They are done. And they're calling us. They're calling out the adults in the room. They're looking at our complacency, at our apathy, at our inaction. And as community members, as the adults in the room, not only is it our job to listen, it is our job to uplift and center their voices. The youth will always know how to look forward. They are the answer. Let us remind them. They serve us. They serve us. The numbers and statistics that have been released with this new fiscal budget not only is appalling, it's insulting. I'm insulted. I'm insulted. And I'll tell you why I'm insulted. Because it tells me that not only are our elected officials not listening, not looking, they are choosing to do so. They are willfully blind. Willfully blind. And we will not accept willful ignorance. They serve us, not just their donors, not just their voters. They serve the people, el pueblo, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. All of it. So let us remind them, if we expect nothing of our government, we will get nothing. If we expect the best from our government, we will get the best. This is how we do it. We expect more. What we fund as a city, as a community, as a valley, as a county, what we put money into reveals not only our priorities, but what we see as worthy of investment, what we see as important. They're telling us that we are not worthy. They're telling us that our youth are not important. So let us continue to organize. Let us use our platforms to speak up and remind them there will be no peace, none, until justice is served. No justice! No justice! Thank you.
All right. Ms. Gonzalez is an ethnic studies teacher. All right, let's look at what that is. An ethnic studies teacher. As the gentleman who just raised his hand is going to make his way up, just wanted to explain to you all as he's making his way over here how important an ethnic studies curriculum is needed, has been needed in our schools. And we're not just talking about high school. We're talking about beginning kindergarten. Just like they passed in San Jose, the Alum Rock School District. Come on. So keep that in mind as I go ahead and present our next speaker.
Thank you. I'm Steve Declan. I think Salinas is a really, truly wonderful place to live. And I've suggested to a whole bunch of folks here, the City Council, that the police officers could do an hour or so a week of some tutoring or do some volunteer work in the schools to help the students. And if students know that you're here to help, then there'll be a lot fewer problems. And it wouldn't cost anything. I've also suggested that every school in the city should have an after-school recreation program, so we can give the kids something to do and something more positive. And this is such a truly wonderful place to live. But all we hear about, not so much now as before. We don't hear anything about gangs anymore. That's a real plus, I think. This is such a wonderful place to live. There's some simple things we can do to make it even better.
Very much. I just want to give it up for him because he's always here. He's showing up. Like that commitment, that commitment to this thing that we call participation, and how far our efforts go, and to what degrees that they can reach. I want to go ahead and invite Commissioner of Public Arts, Library Community Services, District 3, Joey. Give it up for Joey.
Hi everybody, thanks for coming out. This really means a lot, everybody showing up in these kind of numbers, because this is what it takes. And I'm going to be that gentleman when I grow up. Definitely. In conversations I've been having today with my district councilman, we are going to push very, very hard. I can't give a guarantee and an absolute yes that it's already happened, but we are pushing to have 100% of the library budget restored. Among other things that are dear to our heart. I just wanted to address that, and just wanted to thank you all for showing up in these numbers. This really touches my heart very much. This is why I continue to be active in the community, to see people come out like this. And if anybody has any questions and wants to confer with me after this, I will be off to the site. Commissioner Martinez, District 3, Library and Community Services.
All right, so how many of you all, just by show of hands, and just show of hands, how many of you all were able to write an email to your district representative? That's all right. Good. You got, and then how many of you all were able to put in a comment? Send your comments in. Yeah. And there were how many public comments did we get? Does anybody here know? How many public comments were submitted? 11,000? Are you just saying that? I'm just gonna throw out a number, 11,000. Okay, well let's wait to be. We might be able to get an official count on that. Hopefully we do, because again, this is unprecedented, folks. What we're doing, all this, we haven't. We never. When was the last time we ever did anything like this? Or we actually got together and we actually shared ideas in an open forum space like so, and to allow these ideas to flourish and to grow into different forms, and not just the talking head, right? Not just a newsletter, but in the form of art. In the form of art. As a storyteller, I can recognize, and I know a lot of y'all recognize the power of story. And if you go online, you type in Salinas or East Salinas, there's going to be an automatic story that's going to come out on our search engines. And those automatic stories are made by people usually not from the community. But for some reason or another, it looks like they make a lot of money talking about our problems, reporting about our problems. The amount of negative press, the amount of negative coverage of our communities throughout Monterey County. Narrative control, the story that's happening right now, we're writing it. This story right here, oh y'all, you're writing it right now. And you're sending it and you're making it and you're communicating it to our city leaders. Let's be as mindful and as aware and as conscious as possible and understand how far and deep these stories go back to the Esalen, the native Esalen tribe of the Monterey Bay, of the Monterey Peninsula and Salinas Valley. This land that we stand right here. Yes, we've heard Ohlone, but more specifically, Esalen. This region right here was known as the Ensign. We can go online. You can look it up for yourself. The Esalen Nation, Ohlone, Costanoan Esalen Nation. They're still present and they're still fighting. They're fighting for the environment. They're fighting for land rights. They're fighting for identity and culture. And they're the first people of this land. So now we can look at all the folks that have come before us and to where we're at now. To where we're at now, and we deserve to look as close as possible, to look at these things as closely as possible, as critical as possible to our stories, how we got here. And I want to go ahead, if anybody has anything else that they want to say, or they want to jump in. I see that. Yeah, he's got that look. Adam, get over here, Adam. We're at 11. What's that?
There were 11,000 just to my councilman, and 300 of them were from out of state.
11,000 just to your councilman, and 300 of them were from out of state. All right, Adam, go ahead.
Thank you, man. My name's Adam Bolaños-Scale. I want to thank everybody for being out here today. This is such a critical issue, and I'm excited. Now, this is the beginning. Whatever happens in this meeting, this fight is for life, as many as you know. And ultimately, we have to take power. And that power has got to be expressed when our side has a majority of that city council. We got a good guy running, Anthony Rocha's running. I think he cares about these issues. I think we got to push him in. But then we got to get 3-4 more other people in. The other side's got all the money. They're always going to have all the money. What we got is people. But we got a lot of people who are feeling disenfranchised. They feel the system's rigged. Voting doesn't matter. And you know what? A lot of times they are right. So our job is to retake this democracy from the bottom up. Ain't nobody going to do it for us. Ain't nobody going to do it for us. And we got to have a good time along the way. That's why I love the arts. Bringing people together, arts, the music. It's not about being a martyr. It's about doing this together. So keep the long haul. There's always a next election. There's always a next campaign. How do we keep building our strength along the way so nobody gets burned out? We got to keep building, recruiting. And most people agree with us, folks. I know that people agree with what we want. So let's keep doing that. I'll be backing you up. Even though I live in Watsonville, I'll be in Watsonville tonight. We're fighting the same fight. We just passed Measure Y. 90% of it's going to the police. We got to fix that. Same issue all over our communities. So we got to do this together, and I'm looking forward to work with y'all. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Adam. All right, I wanna invite Claudia Melendez Salinas to speak a little bit, give us a little information.
Hello, everybody. I'm a co-founder of Voices of Monterey Bay, which is a nonprofit journalism project that is trying to include as many voices as possible in the conversation. One of the most difficult things in the media is that there's very few people of color writing. It's one thing that I've been one of the things that we're trying to correct in Voices. It's just hard because, like you say, writing is really a very bourgeois, if you will, occupation. You need to have a lot of money, a lot of support, and it is just really hard. But we're trying to train the next generation of writers hopefully of color, hopefully from Salinas and the Salinas Valley. If you're interested, it's a 2-week journalism program, storytelling, photography, and starts July 6th. If you are interested, I have flyers here. It's for high school students and first-year college. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Claudia. Some great writers have come out of that program. And now I want to introduce a youngster over here. Now, this young man, he's already doing things. He's been doing things. Come on up and share what you got, bro.
Thank you. Hey, y'all. I just wanted to emphasize something that resonated with me when listening to Milpa's podcast when Chago said that there is access to the public. There is access for the public to be involved in these conversations. But the question is, why are we being deprived from these conversations? They are actively depriving us from basic human rights. How do you justify people getting injured when roads are underperforming? When the youth that have to walk down Williams Road to reach El Sausal, these roads, when they go, sorry. I was in LSL and I played sports. I came out from practice late at nights. These sidewalks were poorly lit, they were broken down, and I was in constant fear of being stopped for walking around at nights. How do you justify these concerns that we have when instead of focusing on resolving these issues, they are focusing on increasing the police budget? We do not need any more people being incarcerated. We need people being supported through programs that make them aware of the issues that are surrounding our community and giving them the tools to change these issues. It's just a constant cycle of deliberately depriving us of basic human rights. You know what isn't a basic human right? Being incarcerated or being shot.
All right. Am I feeling some? Yeah, all right. Well, here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna demonstrate a little bit of what we're talking about when we're talking. Whenever you're ready. All right. I demonstrate a little bit of what we're talking about when we're considering the art. In this case, there was a story about a family, a California family with a lot of land. They had a lot of, I guess you could say, a lot of privilege, and this is around the time of the takeover of this country when it was Mexico, and then it became the United States. So it's a story that has been outlawed, a name that has been outlawed, and not by us, but by institutional leaders that thought it would be best for us not to even learn this history. So I'm gonna invite the sister over here, Amanda. Tell us a little story.
I'm gonna take off my mask for this, I'm sorry, y'all. This piece is called Rap the TV, and I'm presenting it as La Sofa Queen. Now, here's a little story we got to tell about a bilingual gentleman you don't know well. It started way back in our history when los gringos colonized this territory. With familia from this land, when the flag was Mexican, the invaders took it over and declared it God's plan. To fulfill what they deemed manifest destiny, self-entitled privilegio called their property. Signed the Treaty of Guadalupe, but it didn't mean jack. The rights of Californios were under attack. Stepped up a good-looking, well-educated guy, his name, Derbucio Vasquez. Dirty greasers gotta die. The press was selling stories that sounded well-rehearsed. This bandito's an evil spick with a vicious bloodthirst. His capture and demand, all because he took a stand for over 20 years against racist lawmen. Till one day it all came to a head. A plan fell through and someone ended up dead. Terbucio was shocked. This is what he said. ¿Por qué lo hiciste? Why'd you have to kill two? His jealous lieutenant striking backroom deals. Now what do we have here? Chaos and fear. His primo Teodoro took the rap around here. The judge then told his lady friend, we got your kids, don't you want to see them? It was such a tough decision, as you can see. Get locked away or turn on TV. I'll do what you say, I'll follow your orders. Terbucio's to blame, please give me my daughters. They blamed him for this, they blamed him for that. Character assassination, that was whack. So Terbucio's on the run, cops got their guns. Then down in LA, they caught El Capitan, where they shipped him back up to San Jose, where before he stood trial, his attorney got paid for crucial evidence. He needed new defense. Enter the legal team, Robin Edward Tully, who subpoenaed 20 sheriffs, but not one was served. The prosecution's witnesses were already purged. A travesty of justice, don't you think it was absurd? This great orator even put out this blurb. I believe in his innocence so greatly, I will walk out to the gallows and die with him. Word, he said it, but didn't actually do it. So Vasquez is sentenced by 12 white men. The Greaser Act prevented us from serving back then. Would it have made a difference if we were on the jury? Instructions were made. He needn't be guilty, just present at the scene, qualified for murder in the first degree. Why'd they go and do it? Why'd they bring him down? For repping that resistance on these California grounds? To make a bunch of dollars or all kinds of sense? Feeding fake news, racist correspondents? Making mucho money, getting rich off his story? From here all the way to New York City. Looking pretty obvious, it was so damn clear by the movidas del fiscal who ran for governor that year. Or maybe when they heard him put out this demand. My countrymen were unjustly deprived of the social rights that belonged to us, so I took a stand. Still on March 19th, 1875, 10,000 gringos came to watch him die. Because to those people at that time, to hang a Mexicano made them all feel high. About a month later, the same judge that sentenced him to death said, I don't believe that Terbucio Vasquez was guilty. Say what? So I go by the name of La Sofa Queen, but my name is Amanda. I am a Salinas native, born and raised, and I actually just wanted to share my own idea of public safety. You guys said some really beautiful things, and it's really dope to see the community coming together and expressing their concerns and what they want to see more of. I went to school, Sherwood on the east side, and I still walk those streets daily, and I'm walking the streets and I see, damn, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed in my neighborhood. The roads are still as jacked up as they were 25 years ago, and there's still not enough lighting in my neighborhood. And we live in of course we all know we live in a majority agriculture, and it's just sad. It's sad that our cops are getting paid more than our teachers. That's devastating. We need more maestras. We need more maestras like you, that really care. How do you expect, parents working 12-hour, 16-hour shifts and then also having to go and take care of their children? You can't do it all. It takes a village, and we are that village, I love my city. I have deep roots here, and I've already seen so much great work just by going out there and asking questions. And sometimes when you ask questions, you're not gonna like the answers that you get, but you're gonna know. And once you know, you can't unsee things that you've already seen, So thank you, Chago. Thank you for everybody doing the work.
All right, Sofa Queen, look her up. She's online. Yeah. All right, so I want to go ahead. We're about to bring it to an end. But before that, I want to introduce Brother Wes White. You recognize him, you know him. He's always here with his camera, guys. He's making sure that we can at least see it on YouTube. If it happens, you're gonna see it on YouTube, and it's because of Wes White, Brother Dread. All right, so come on up, Wes.
First of all, before that man leaves there, Steve Eklund, he's been a teacher. You got to realize his history, man. He was a Peace Corps volunteer for years down in Colombia. He taught blind and deaf children, and he was able to coordinate getting them to be able to run around the Olympic field down in Colombia. Then he moved here in the 70s as a bilingual teacher. And I mean, you gotta imagine how hard it is to teach people who are deaf and blind, and then come here, and he settled here. He's been here forever, and he's always trying to make a positive difference. So thank you, Steve. I mean, he's totally a mentor for me, and he's wonderful. So, gosh, this defund stuff, you know, how are we doing refunding the community? Are we even trying? You know, this has been a perpetual cycle for eons, right? The people in power, they don't want to share power, and that's really where we need to be coming in and look at this community here is knocking on the door, and I love it. I love it, fantastic, because that's the whole thing, is involvement. The more we get involved, the closer we can see them. That's the whole point of this camera, is cop watch, you know, who polices the police. I do a homeless union. I'm part of the National Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. And so this defund the police and refund the community has been a part of this movement for years. Yeah. And you know, it's high time. This is such a wonderful thing. You know, we did Black Lives Matter back in 2015. We did a round on my YouTube channel. It's called John Doe 13K, 2 words. And that, you know, you can see anything that we've done for the last 5 years. And we've come a long way, because seriously, the first time Black Lives Matter came around, we had a handful, dozens, but, you know, not that much community interest. And now, and then what happened shortly before that too, the 6 police shootings, you know, in 2014 that resulted in so many deaths. And what happened? Well, we investigated ourselves and we did nothing wrong. Thanks. You know, really, if we stopped enforcing and criminalizing these laws like the RV ban, I mean, we're talking about affordable housing, yet we'll nail you for ticket and tow your vehicle, so then you can truly become homeless, and then you're not supposed to be homeless, so you can't be here either. Who's getting paid? The police, the dump run people, the landscapers who, you know, and who's paying for it? It's human suffering, perpetual poverty, and eventual death. So just even repealing laws is a first step. Look, if we stopped the sweeps in Salinas against homeless people, that would save us $2 million a year. You want to talk about defunding the police? Let's start there. Okay, the community, or the Coalition of Homeless Service Providers for the county is our continuum of care. And the city does not coordinate anything with the continuum of care. So who's being responsible? Who has the fiduciary responsibility to be responsible? The police. They already know this. They've been informed, they've repeatedly been informed, but they don't care. And this is the same way as systemic racism is also homeless, because that's the most easiest way about it. You're poor, you don't belong here, I'm gonna arrest you. And that's the same loitering laws and tipping laws. And everything goes toward mass incarceration. Who gets paid? The sheriffs. They just got a major budget going on for a juvenile hall, a jail, and they also call it a prison. So, I mean, who's making money? It's not us, it's not the community. We need to take our power back. So I am running for mayor, and I would really appreciate your support with the campaign coming in the next 6 months or less. And, you know, let's just keep on the good fight.
All right, Wes White for mayor, everybody. All right, so we're about to bring it to a close right now. But before we do that, I do want to let you all know that we're planning something, folks. We're planning something for Friday, July 3rd. All right? It's a big action. We're gonna be planning a march. 2 marches actually. We're working with our folks in Seaside, and we're gonna get our raza over here, our gente, our families right over here on the east side. So the east side and Seaside are gonna be marching on Friday, July 3rd to CSUMB. That's right, we're gonna be marching all the way out to CSU Monterey Bay. All right? And we're gonna claim that space, that public space, that university for us. What that university is supposed to represent, and actually does represent. I'm gonna say it does. And our presence there, Friday, July 3rd, is going to send a message, not just to our city leaders, our county leaders, but we're gonna send a message to the world. That CSUMB, CSU Monterey Bay, is the site of Fort Ord, first integrated base in the country. This valley right here, we provide produce for the world. It's my neighbor's hands, right? It's the parents of the students that I work with that make sure that gets placed from, it takes from the ground to the person's plate on the other side of the planet, folks. So on July 3rd, we're gonna make this statement. We're gonna make it happen. There's gonna be information. Please be on the lookout. And invite your city council member. Invite them to come out with the pueblo, to come out with the people. Invite them. You know who they are. You know who your city council representative is. I hope, right? Because this is it right here, y'all. This is the new now. The new now, right? Okay. So, we're gonna go ahead and stop it here. I'm gonna play a little music, but we want you all to connect with your neighbors. Connect with the neighbors right here, right now, folks. All right? All right? Yeah. All right? Let's get it. Si se puede clap. Let's go. Se puede. Se puede. Also, when we find out how all the decisions were made today, okay, we don't know how we're gonna feel by the end of this day. Really, right now, we have no idea, right? Joey says that they may maintain the funding for all the libraries, and that's a good sign. Okay, it's a start. But this is work, right? This is a democracy. This is a culture. So it's time to embrace who we are. All right, we're residents, documented or undocumented. This is our pueblo, okay? Say what's up to your neighbor. Thank you, guys.